everyone, and welcome to Horror After Midnight. Still here at Slinky's Liquor Pond and Video, and I am Pop Tart, and of course, Casey and Slinky himself are here, and we have a special guest, Mr. Zane Hershberger is here with us.
How you doing?
Hey,
it's awesome.
Well, guys, take it away. I know you all have talked to Zane a couple of times, and hey, go at it. Have fun.
Well, all right. Thanks for coming back on. We had you on before, but sound, bitch slapped us all, I guess.
Happens.
Well, I'm going to throw this over to Chris because you were in a movie that this fellow worked on. So why don't you guys, go to it, man, because I know you got a bunch of questions, dude.
All right. Well, we're here to talk about The Barn. And I love the opening. Like, who decided to have a kid killed in the beginning of the film, and how was it working with her?
That was always in Justin's script. That was one of the first things when we did, knew right away we were killing a kid, and it was awesome. I was like, oh, I'm definitely in. And her name is Ryan. Gosh, what is her last name? I'm trying to hold on for a second. I'll find it. But she was fantastic in the movie. Like when you go in with kid actors, it's kind of like you're like, what are we gonna get? What are we, are they gonna be able to take direction? Are their attention spans gonna be, able to hold up? And are they gonna be able to take direction very well? Like, if you need a minute detail, are they gonna get it just to make what you want? And Ryan Nogi, that's her name, Nogy, Ryan Nogi. And she came in. She did dance, I believe. I think she went to the same studios that woman that has that show, that Dance Moms or whatever.
Okay.
She went to that same dance school run by that woman, and we got her involved, and she was fantastic. In fact, the one thing, so in the movie when she gets hit with the pickaxe, we did the reverse, like the machete in the face from Dawn of the Dead, where they put it against her face and then pull it away. So we're like, we're gonna have to have you start out screaming with it in your head, and then when we pull it out, you're gonna have to kind of sit up and look like you're kind of shocked to see it coming down. She did it perfect. It was amazing how well she did it.
I want to interject. I really want to interject here before Chris goes to another one. I'm still getting used to some of the responses from folks in the horror industry when he mentioned killing a kid, and you go, "It was fantastic." I'm like,
yeah, it was great.
That's not exactly the response.
Nobody does it. It's kind of taboo, and it's like when people do it, it seems like it gives a little bit more you almost get kind of street cred because you're like, oh well, they killed a kid, because they haven't done every once in a while you'll see a movie like Mimic did it. The remake of The Blob in the 80s did it. You'll see every once in a while something will come along and do it, and then it just seems like people don't want to touch it for some reason.
Yeah, I think it was.
But if you kill an animal, if you kill a dog, watch the fuck out.
Yeah, dude, they'll come and find you.
I was gonna say, I think even it was the last Halloween movie. I think it was implied that he had killed that kid, but I don't think they ever showed it.
But even in Dawn of the Dead,
that was good. Right, the new one, that was good too. And in fact, that was even gruesome because it wasn't he strangled him. I think it was pretty.
Yeah, he grabbed him, and I think he broke his neck or something.
He snapped his
neck.
Yeah, it's really not graphic, but just disturbing. You're damn.
Then they showed him walking towards the crib, and you're like, oh no,
That's why I thought we were going to cross that line.
Takes the hard left. Yeah. But it's
taboo. Pet Cemetery.
Yeah,
oh, true.
That's right. Knocked him out of his shoes, boy.
Yeah.
Now, just last thing I'll ask about that is, did you think were you worried at all about any kind of backlash
shit about
that, or never once?
No, we weren't at all. Nope, not once.
It's in the script.
Yeah, we just went with it, and because other than we didn't really. When you watch the movie, it's kind of I think charming. It's not really offensive. It's almost kind of it's almost like a Goosebumps episode with boobs and blood. If Goosebumps, it's what it kind of reminded me of, and it just has a charming I don't think it's very offensive in any way. Just even though it kills a kid and all that, I was just it's really kind of done in fun. Kind of
fun. The Office for you,
Oh yeah,
that's so cool. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, what else we got? There's tons of questions for you.
Yeah, no. I I'm waiting to hear about when Chris worked on the movie.
Yeah, we'll get there.
That's what I'm waiting for. So
Keep going.
By all means, by all
Okay,
means.
I was going to ask, how was it working with Ari Lehman, Dr. Rock?
It's different.
Oh,
Hold on. She
Yeah,
meme
if-
and it pissed Ari.
yeah, I gotta get to that. We'll get to that
She
then.
made a meme and it pissed off Ari. But go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, Ari. He's a character to work with for sure. He is. His attention span's very short.
Well, even in interviews, you can tell because he's like, squirrel.
Yeah, he's all over the place. Although I will say, I thought he played Dr. Rock like fantastic. Like he was great as that character. In the Barn 2, there's a part where they have him talking to a group of sort of like stuffy church people at like a town meeting, and Ari gave a performance that blew me away. I was like, this is amazing. Like, it's probably one of the best performances in both Barn movies. I thought he must have really Pratt and zeroed in on that because he handled the action really well too. We were a little nervous because he has this weapon that he's using. He's swinging around, and I was like, is he gonna kill somebody with this? Because he has to swing it around for real, and these people aren't like professional like stunt people or nothing. They're just running around, And I'm like, I could clearly see someone getting beamed with this web, But he did a pretty good job at keeping it under control, and it actually, no casualties. So,
That's always a good thing.
Bonus. No lawsuits. Bonus.
Yeah, no, we I don't really talk about Mr. Lehman too much on my own.
Well, you
Because,
pissed him off.
well, yeah, he unfriended me. It was meant to be funny.
It doesn't
He did
matter.
think it was
She
funny.
made a
Okay,
meme and
never
it
mind.
pissed him off.
Never mind.
That's all.
Anyway,
It's all good. First, Jason got mad.
yeah,
So.
oops. Oh,
First, Jason makes a lot of people mad.
He's running, man.
He's a
just
unique individual.
Yeah, he's going for it. He's first Jason.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. One of my favorite parts in the movie was the hootenanny. How was like the practical effects? They were like really good. I was just wondering, like, do you know around how like, blood was used for that scene?
What the blood was?
Yeah, do you know?
No,
I mean, like,
I think it was just like the typical Cairo syrup and see, there was a whole fiasco with that. Like, we had an original effects guy who pretty much took the money and ran. I forget how much Jason. You guys got me thinking about Jason.
First Jason, first Justin.
Yeah, first Justin. When Justin first brought this guy on, he took the money and he ran, and he tried to make do what he had, and then he came in, and I knew a guy who did effects stuff, and he came in and he said, "Look, I don't have a lot of money, but can we pull off some stuff?" And I was like, all right, well, what do we got? So he had this box of like Wuchi kits and things like that. And I'm like, I think we can make some of this stuff work. So we just sat down and thought around different ways of using camera tricks and trying to come up with different ways to pull some stuff off. And I was pretty happy with the most part with the way the stuff looked. The blood, I'm not sure because I think it was a mixture. The first guy made the blood and it looked like motor oil. Like it was really black. And then so we had to, but we took that and mixed it with others. So I said it was a mixture of a lot of stuff. So I don't know what it was really made out of. It could have been made out of sulfuric acid. I don't know, we're spraying people in the face with it.
Just for the record, sir, if you ever need some chunky, bloody nastiness, a little crushed pineapple works really, really well.
Fruit cocktail.
Well, it's funny because in the one scene when the one zombie, when they're in the ritual scene, he gets his head like kind of bisected from the side, and the head shoots off and explodes out. We used that. We brought another effects guy in who was pretty good. His name's Bob Kuhn, and they used grapefruit pulp. And
yes.
They fired that through like a hand cam. It's kind of like a hand mortar. I think it's like some kind of pump. And as soon as that thing, they shot it, it sprayed out. It looked like really awesome. I was like, yeah, brains flying out. That's good stuff.
Yeah, the effects were great.
We had to reshoot that effect, that thing dying 3 times. The first time he got decapitated, and it looked really stupid because you could tell where he had the severed head just sitting on there. So all you do was like tap it, and it would just roll off. So you could tell when they hit, and I'm like, that looks stupid. So we tried another decap, and I don't remember, that one was not working very well. So I go, look, the decap is not working. Maybe we should think of a different way to kill this guy. So then I started thinking, and I asked Bob, I was like, hey, because the problem was with the neck, I'm like, can we keep the head sturdy and maybe do like a head split? And then I thought of the coming down and chopping the head, like bisecting it and having it slide off, like in kind of like in Texas Chainsaw 2 when they're in the truck and he comes down with a saw and saws that guy's head and it slides. That was kind of the idea. But I go, but we could have, when it goes, we can do it in slow-mo and have stuff like spray out, and it worked.
Yeah, no, we would definitely appreciate this, the practical effects.
Yeah, no, practical all the way.
We wanted to do that all the way. There is some digital in there, and I was surprised at how good. In fact, the one scene where he's attacking this guy, and I was going to say the guy in flannel, but I think that's what everyone brought flannels. It's like, hey, dress in a hillbilly outfit, and they all came in flannels. So either flannels or they're coming to like a Pearl Jam concert or something.
Yeah, like a Soundgarden concert.
So he throws the one guy against the food table, and he has a sickle, and he hits this guy across the stomach, and then his guts spill on the floor. The initial hit, when he hits him and you see the blood splatter out, is actually a CGI blood splat, and it looked pretty good. And then, but then when you see it happen, then it cuts right between his legs, and you see the guts spill on the floor. Yeah. And I honestly, when I watch it now, I think it looks like a practical effect. Like I can't tell how good I thought they did with that effect.
Yeah, because obviously you used it in the right way. You just did it to enhance a few things a little bit.
You didn't accentuate and stuff.
You didn't use it to, do a whole scene.
Yeah, like some people would have had like the actual CGI guts come out, like that one.
Yeah.
Rambo did that in one movie, I think, and it looked terrible.
Yeah, that's when it starts looking goofy.
Yeah. But if you accentuate stuff, that's
it's nice.
Good. Yeah. So
exactly.
Small amount. Oh, that's great. I love hearing this stuff, man. I love hearing this stuff. So.
What made you want to get into horror and filmmaking?
Well, since when I was younger, I actually didn't like horror movies at first. I was like scared shitless of them, actually. And then, but the weird thing is, my mom and my aunt would watch them, and like I would go out and I'd see shit happening, and I'd get scared, and I would run away. But as soon as the suspense built up, I would get scared and I'd leave. But the moment I heard what happened, I'd have to run in and see what happened. I just didn't whatever happened, like jump out or whatever. Mm-hmm. So, but then I started getting like, I loved dinosaurs as a kid, loved them. And then that brought me to Godzilla, which got me into monster movies, like big monsters. And it just progressed from there. And then after that, I was like a sponge, and I just ate that shit up. And I always wanted to be a writer originally. Like I just wanted to write. But then I started realizing I don't like writing like novels because I hate the format of writing novels, and it's annoying to me. So I started getting more into movies and like thinking about writing scripts and stuff, and then that's how it just progressed from there. It just kind of like rolled from one thing into the other.
Was there
what's that?
Was there a certain movie that did it that made you want to pursue filmmaking? And
if there was, I couldn't pinpoint. I just started liking some of them, and there were ones that I really enjoyed. My favorite one of all time is The Evil Dead, the original.
Yeah.
That scared me when I was younger, but I love the movie and I really appreciate it now because when you're making indie films, you go back and you watch what they went through, and you totally understand and what they pulled off, and that was amazing. And I like that. Like you said, I like hearing the stories. Like Fangoria used to do. When they would do their spreads and stuff, they would do like big Hollywood movies. I'm like, I don't care about that shit.
No. They would do like the small stuff in the woods.
Yeah, they would do like direct-to-video movies. Like I'm just trying to think off it. Like say like Night of the Demons, or even like years later, just any kind of indie film. Like that'd be lower budget or whatever. And I liked hearing about their stories about how they made their movie than just what you do. Grudge remake. Oh, we just threw a bunch of money at it, and it just.
No. I want to hear him strapping the camera to a board and shoving it through a car windshield.
That's what I want to hear. I love hearing stuff. That's why I watch a lot of director commentaries on the movies, and learn some things. I've been watching this thing on YouTube. It's pretty cool, called VFX artists react and stuntmen react to, and that's a pretty good show that I even got my wife into that. She's always like, is that on? I'm like, yeah, it's on. Let's watch it.
That's awesome.
Now you asked about what favorite,
well, I was going to ask him what's his favorite horror movie.
Oh, actually, no, I was going to ask him another thing. Which filmmaker in particular like inspires you? Who do you look up to?
Well, it's really funny because originally I would have married Dario Argento back in the day.
Yeah. I love Argento.
I was a huge Argento fan. I was a huge Fulci fan. Like there was a time when I was like probably back in the 90s. Like I eat, slept, and shit pretty much Italian horror. Like I watched anything I could find of Italian horror. I ate that stuff up. I'm a big Mario Bava fan too. He's phenomenal because without him, a lot of that stuff wouldn't exist.
Yes.
But then of course and it's so typical, but I'm a huge Carpenter fan. Like I love John Carpenter just because I love his lighting style, which would be Dean Cundy, his cinematographer. I thought was incredible. And I always liked his films, and especially the old '80s ones like Halloween.
They're very pretty to watch. Yeah,
exactly. They're dark, but they have like a look to them. Like when you see Christine's headlights, there's like the long, the beams of light. Like they just really. Like Dean Cundy was a genius. Like his stuff is amazing. I said, and Carpenter always knew how to elicit a lot of fear. Like a lot of people, I know there are fans of The Fog, but I think The Fog's sort of actually underrated.
The Fog's way underrated. I love that movie.
I love it because I always sit down and I go, there's several movies where I love like endings to movies or beginnings. The Fog has one of my favorite beginnings where it's just the old man telling the kids the story. If you watch the cruddy remake, they show it, the boat crashing, and it's all over the top. And
it's scarier hearing him tell the story.
It's not as good as that, just as simple, that old man just sitting there telling those kids the story of it. And I'm like, this is great. Fantastic. Yeah, John Carpenter would be another one who I'm a huge fan of. So I'd probably say between like the Italian. As of now, I kind of got away from Argento's. I still think he's awesome, but I kind of lean more for Fulci now because Fulci, his atmosphere, and there's like, especially there's The Beyond, House by the Cemetery, and that is so rich. Like it's amazing.
Well, there's a couple shots in Zombie that are real creepy to watch. Like when they're approaching the church, real moody.
Yep, so great. Gates of Hell, like they all have like these great,
so good. Yeah,
great scenes of just awesome zombie. I think The Beyond is probably my favorite, just because I love the scope of it, where it's like they're in
the
this
ending shot is gorgeous.
I would put that as one of my favorite endings to a horror film. That and Prince of Darkness. I was talking to someone the other day about that. I go, nothing even has to happen. I go, that dude just reaches out to that mirror at the end, and just as he's about to touch it, it ends. I'm like, that's phenomenal.
Yeah, I don't know. Nobody makes zombie movies like the Italians.
I was going to say,
nobody does.
Mr. Slinky here introduced Giallo films to myself and to Casey. So he's definitely a fan as well. My very first one was Bird with the Crystal Plumage.
Oh, that's a fantastic.
Argento. Yeah, Argento. But
you watch Dress to Kill and ripped off a bunch of shit from that movie.
Well, Friday 2 ripped off the double impalement scene from Bay of Blood.
Bay of Blood, yep.
Oh,
yeah, because that scene with the girl in the elevator with the straight razor and Bird with the Crystal Plumage is right out of.
Yep.
The only thing I'll give De Palma is he had that cool thing where she saw in the reflection of the elevator the person standing around the corner waiting for it. And I'm like, that's actually pretty cool. Like she actually caught it.
It's like, kind of like Deep Red. You see if you catch it, if you know what to look for in the very beginning, you see the killer in the hallway.
Oh yeah.
I think Saul ripped the Billy doll off from Deep Red.
Yes, from Deep Red. That's right. Yep. Same thing. That was the first thing I thought of when I saw that doll. And what is it? Happy Death Day. I thought that was the mask from Four Flies on Gray Velvet. I was like, come on, what are you guys
You're
doing?
right. It does look like that face.
See, it looks just like it. Yeah. So, Italian horror. We can talk about this all night.
I was going to say we've talked about it many times before. How incestuous filmmaking can be.
Yeah, it's very incestuous. So. But,
no, keep going. I'm sorry.
No. All right. What is it you're working on right now that you're currently,
right now we're still in the process of filming The Barn 2. We just finished up and we just got the Blu-ray out for 1031 Part 2, where I did a fake movie trailer at the beginning of that called Treaters. It's sort of like it's a throwback to 80s horror films where a bunch of kids are on their way to a Halloween party and they pick up this weird woman alongside the road. She's going on about she has to get these treats and they take her back to her house and it's just a bunch of weird, bizarre deaths happening.
See, that's so fun. That's so cool.
Yeah, we're actually working on a feature length for it right now, and that's like we sat down and it's pretty insane. I think if we can pull off with what I think we can do, it's going to be cool. And then we're just finishing up another feature we may call Force to Fear, which is sort of like an action. It's a mixture of everything. There's like sort of slasher elements, but it's like a bunch of kids go to party in this abandoned school, and there's like this guy in like full tactical armor with like a helmet, and to them, he's like indestructible. So I got to figure out a way to kill him because he locks them inside the school, and we had to train like all the girl, like everyone learned. We trained them in martial arts. There's like a lot of karate fighting in it, and all kinds of stuff.
Bonkers. That sounds awesome. Oh man, take my money, dude.
It's kind of like a throwback to my we were influenced by like old canon films like from Menahem Gold, like like American Ninja and Revenge of the Ninja, like movies like that were my Savage Streets, and those were like sort of inspirations for the movie.
What's the Brian Bosworth flick you like, dude? What's the name of that one?
I love
Stone Cold.
Stone Cold.
Shit, man.
I used to watch Cynthia Rothrock movies when I was a kid.
I did too.
Yeah, China O'Brien. I remember that. She used to kick everybody's ass.
I had posters of her in my room, actually.
She's so hot.
She was
awesome. No, that's cool, man. That's awesome. So
fun.
good. So good. That's great.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just like I'm the effects person. I just love that kind of shit. That's what
She likes the behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah. So. I like when we make things look bloody and gross, but I don't want to watch it.
Yeah, like who are some of your like effects influences? Like Tom Savini, Rick Baker.
Who do you love?
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of Rob Bottin because of The Thing and The Howling. Like that stuff is amazing. Stan Winston, anything out of Stan Winston Studios. You know, if you see a Stan Winston's name on it, then it's gonna be pretty freaking solid.
Yeah.
Because you sit back and you realize like these guys created like the Pumpkinhead monster, which is amazing. The Predator.
He directed that film too, and nobody talks about that. Yeah.
Right. And then you got the Predator, which is amazing. The Xenomorph, which is amazing. Like pretty much Stan Winston created the most coolest fucking monsters like ever made.
He made me think dinosaurs were real in Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
like,
and they're
pupils,
they were the saving grace of which people were hard on this movie. I don't think it's as bad as The Island of Dr. Moreau. They did the animal people, and those things looked amazing, I thought.
Yeah. They were great makeups. I mean, great makeups.
Yeah. They were awesome looking. And then they also did the Terminator skeletons, which were amazing.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think Island Dr. Moreau, I think the only reason that movie gets a little bit of like, kind of, whatever.
Well, there's a lot of production problems and stuff.
Yeah, then there's Brando. Okay.
Right. He did.
He was doing his own
what he was doing in that movie. Yeah. He was like,
didn't he like show up on set? Like they never knew when he was going to show up.
Yeah, he would show up when he wanted. He wasn't saying his lines. He would wear what he wanted.
Through an earpiece most of the time, and he wore like the moo-moos and that. And you're like, what the fuck? This guy.
Yeah, because that was not supposed to be that was not the what am I thinking here?
The image that wasn't the costume.
It was not the costume they intended.
He had a weird like umbrella hat and stuff.
Well, he wore that one. He said it was it looked like a bucket.
Yeah,
because it's so hot they were pouring ice in the top of it to keep it cool.
Yeah.
Like just that. Oh man! And then Val Kilmer was like on diva mode.
Val Kilmer was on coke or something.
Yeah, something. But
actually, I just recently heard that one of the reasons they said that he got served divorce papers was as soon as that movie. Like the first day of shooting, so that man was an asshole. Like he wasn't in the best moods.
That explains an awful lot.
That'll do it. But anything Stan Winston touches.
Oh yes,
absolutely.
I'd say Stan Winston and Rob Bottin are probably like my two big like go-to guys for the effects houses. Rick Baker's pretty good too.
See, I was always impressed. I mean, Rick Baker, the American Werewolf, that the animatronics he made is just insane.
Yeah. But see,
if you need a gorilla, call Rick Baker.
It always overshadows the Howling, But the Howling's great. Those effects.
Yeah, the Howling is good.
It's good stuff. God. All right, that was all.
That's it.
I got to nerd out for a few minutes. That's cool.
That's all you wanted to contribute, really? Nothing.
Well, he told me he's got a bunch of questions. So.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
It's all right. Can you tell us the story behind the first day on set
of the barn?
Yeah,
that was a crazy day because it was the first day we showed up. We had everything going on at what we had, like people getting thrown. Well, the makeup guy at the time, who was we'll call him the villain. he was getting makeup ready before even checking with us. We're trying to get the lighting done because I actually was not the original DP of the movie. I started out as assistant camera guy to the original DP, and then he left and I took over, and we basically almost reshot, like, I'd say between half to 3/4 of the movie.
Oh, man.
And so the first day we were there, the original DP was there. I was there. We're setting up lights because what we were trying to do was we were trying to set up lights for. There was like a main. So when you see the kids walk into the barn inside, we were lighting that area. When Nicholas Joshua, who's he dies first, he goes in with his headphones and he goes into the chicken coop area. We were lighting that because that room was actually right there. So we were trying to light all of that to get it ready so we could just jump from one without, having to do too many setups. It's like jump from here, jump from here.
Boom, boom, boom. Yeah.
So we're at least 2 hours, maybe 3, trying to set up the lights just to make sure it looked good. And we have the effects guy coming going, I have people sitting over there in makeup, and they're really, and the DP's like, who told you to put them in makeup right now? And it's like, so we were just like, but in the end, like when you watch it, it looked good. So I was like, yeah, so shut up. It looked good.
Yeah, it's real clean, man. It looks nice.
Yeah, Justin had no issues with it. He was fine with it because he knew, he's like, he trusted us to get it, ready. It's just the effects guy for some reason was getting all mad. But that was the first day, and I think it was pretty. If I remember, we had a bunch of like younger kids that came in from like Point Park College to help out. And it was cold outside, and we had this. I think the one girl was like from like Africa or something. So we're like, yeah, go outside, and it's like it was.
And she's.
Yeah, it was like 50. I'm gonna say it might not have been 50. It might have been about 50 degrees, 55 degrees, something like that. Wind's going. She's outside. I go, to us, it's like, I'm like, it's not that bad. To her, it was probably like the Arctic. Yeah, it's like. So yeah, it was pretty cold for some of those kids, and. But then as the next couple shoots went, they all started dropping off like one by one.
Now, I want to follow up that question. Okay, since you gave us the first day of filming, not necessarily on this movie, but what was your very worst day ever on a set?
Oh man,
a set. Oh my god.
What is the absolute worst day ever?
Day. Trying to think what a worst day would be.
Well, in indie filmmaking, I know there's probably a.
Well, he's telling us all stuff that happens.
It's like worst day where people like would fight, or you mean like where something like just wasn't working, or
just total shit show.
Just a total collapse of all.
I'll be outside. Screw you guys. I'm going home.
I'm going to have a cigarette and a drink. See ya.
Oh man, I'm trying to think because I've been on a lot of shoots. There's this one. I was shooting this one thing, helping. It was actually the original DP. We were helping this guy film a Ghostbusters fan film.
Oh man!
And it was just terrible. Like they just weren't prepared. Their jokes were awful in it. And it's just we're just sitting there going, "Oh my god!" Just shaking our heads and stuff. And at one point, I actually had to leave because my one actress I had worked with, she was actually going to be in a play, and I was supposed to go. And my buddy, the DP, was like, "Hey," he goes, "I'm going to roll with you and go to that play." And I said, "That's fine. I'm sure she appreciates anyone coming, and watching her." So we rolled away, and they knew I had to go.
Store.
Well, I think he knew that we had to go, like I had to go, but I don't think they knew he was going. So he just dumped it on them and said, "Yeah, we're leaving." And as I remember, was walking away, and I guess they're all just standing there wondering what they're gonna do, and they're in their full gut. And there's nothing more sad than watching like 4 full-grown men just like in Ghostbuster outfits, just kind of there with their heads down, like just really sad.
The dream's gone.
Man.
Like, oh.
I mean, I've gotten into arguments with people on set. But that's stupid stuff. Like, you have cold days. You have, days where something's just not working, where you're getting so mad because you're trying to get something that's just not working. And you're like, I've easily had the police show up at least 5 times on different sets.
That sounds pretty accurate to filmmaking. Yes, cops.
Many times I was in one where we were it was a school project. We had to recreate an actual scene from a movie. and we had to get people that looked sort of like the people. We had to do the lighting, and we did Sid and Nancy, where Sid stabs Nancy, and it's like them screaming at each other and they're fighting, and we had to keep doing it. And someone down the stairs or whatever must have heard it and thought it was an actual domestic dispute and called the cops. Cops showed up. I think there was one where someone didn't get, of course, permission. So we were out in an old folk. It was like an old folks place with sorry about that. It was an old folks place, and we were just using the parking lot, but the old folks must have been peeking out, going, "Oh, down there!" And they called the cops. Man. They show up, ask them what we're doing, but they were actually, most of the time I've ever had the police show up, they're usually pretty cool about it, as long as you're not like destroying something or giving them crap. They're usually pretty cool about it. Yeah. For the first 1031, we did a story. I directed one of the stories. It was about a killer scarecrow, and I was on my buddy's property, and we put up the post, and we had the scarecrow up, and we just left it there because we knew we'd be back. We didn't want to move it just in case we wanted to keep everything the same. So we were there one night. 5 cop cars showed up. And they showed up because they said someone saw a cross in the yard. So I don't know if they're thinking like,
someone's gonna set it on fire. Yeah.
So the cops show up. The one guy said, "This isn't even my like jurisdiction." He goes, "I just thought it sounded interesting and wanted to come out and check it out." So he came out, and we had the fake scarecrow hanging on the post. And he's walking over to me because he's not going to jump off the post, is he? I'm like, no, but don't shoot it, please, because we need it.
Yeah, that's our one prop. Oh, man. Yeah.
So those are the couple of the times we've had. We had one, I think, when we were filming the barn, there was one scene, we had to shoot a bunch of death. It's like when the old man's telling the kids the story about the different monsters, and the monsters going around murdering, like the guy gets his face peeled off. Now, we all shot that in one house. We just moved to like different parts of the house. That's in the main drag in Claysville where Justin lives. And for some reason, someone saw us there and said we had someone running naked down the street. And we're like, what? They're like, yeah, they said.
People say anything to get the cops to come out.
Said people were running naked down the street. And I'm like, well, I don't know what set that is, but can you direct me to that set? Because I'll gladly go to that set. So, but yeah, they, yeah, I don't know, but yeah, we've had police called a lot of times.
I think anytime I ever dealt with something like that, even close, a friend of mine used to do stage makeup, and she had just a bunch of props in her back seat, and there was
severed heads.
Well, yeah, but the thing was, she had taken them all out, but there was like all this fake blood that was like remnants on the seat. Somebody. He's saying that there was like this blood splatter all over this car, and it was the only thing that she ever said that was funny. She was not a funny person, but she said to the officer, she said, "Just lick it. It's corn syrup.
Just lick it. Just lick it.
Yeah.
In your mouth. Find out what
I actually think he's gonna get down and lick your car seat, sweetie."
That's funny.
That was great. Lick it.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone has those fun
those dumb stuff like
oh yeah. I'd say the worst thing is probably being in the cold is probably some of the worst stuff, because everyone's miserable and you're just cold and you're just like you're like shit.
Yeah.
When a light or something falls, and that's probably that's frustrating too. Or when breakers keep tripping in the house and stuff, and you have to keep that's annoying.
Yeah.
You just kind of, but yeah, we just have to like just kind of push through it, just like, all right, well,
make the best of it.
Absolutely.
Oh, you know what? Okay, so here, this wasn't bad, but like Justin and I went out and we filmed Volumes of Blood 2. We did the one story called I think it was called Happy Death Day or something. It was very close to that movie's title. And about these two people that the guy, they were serial killers, a husband and wife, and for the guy's birthday, she would bring people home they would kill them together and stuff. And the one girl in the one scene, he keeps going on about his hemorrhoids, and she's supposed to stab him in the asshole, and like it sprays down to her face, and then she vomits. And at that point, he's stumbling around with this knife sticking out of his ass, and he slips on the vomit and then lands on the knife, and it goes like further up his asshole. And I remember for her doing the vomit, and I don't do vomit like well at all. And I remember they got like some kind of like just probably like lukewarm like soup they gave her, and she has it in her mouth, and they put it in her mouth, and Justin's like, oh, and I think we found some of the lighting or something. We're trying to fix it, and she's just sitting there, and she starts like hammering her fist down, like, I'm ready to go, I'm ready to go. So Justin's like, okay, let's just shoot it. And in my mind, I'm thinking, if she's gonna throw up for real, I'm gonna vomit, and then. And then if anyone else vomits because of that, and I see that, I'm gonna vomit again, and it's just gonna be like chaos. And when she threw up, I thought she did throw up for real. I had to look away, and then there was like the smell of the soup, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna throw up!" Like that was pretty bad because I always vomit.
Who wrote that scene?
That was written by PJ Starks, wrote, because he's the creator of Volumes of Blood stories.
Yeah.
I think I've interacted with.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to let PJ know that he's a sick fuck.
yeah,
Yeah, because he's really stabbed in the ass. Okay,
That's funny.
You gotta see it. It's great.
I'm gonna have to.
I mean,
Yeah,
it is like a it's a pretty decent explosion of blood that comes out of this guy. This dude destroyed what it had to been like a grapefruit. Like that's blood shot out of his ass. Like, it was ridiculous.
Sorry, this is just hysterical. I'm
Chris,
trying to
ask his question.
No, I know.
That's awesome.
And I was gonna ask you, how was it shooting the van scene in the barn?
Oh, okay. So the van scene, what we did with that was, so we actually went out onto Justin knew like a back road. It had like a nice fall day. It was sunny. We saw the leaves. It looked great. For the inside, we decided to do the green screen, and actually didn't work out too bad. What we did was we had everyone set up. We did a green screen, and then we actually went into a car and filmed. We knew the different angles we were going to be at, so we just shot the footage. But if I remember correctly, I think we actually shot, and the leaves might have been a little green. So we had our post guy at the time, Bob Lanfear. He went in and he actually made them look more like brown. So and it works. Oh, well, the other thing was, so when we're having them go in, we wanted to make it look like they're obviously in a real van on a back road. So we had someone all start going bump, and they all jump, like they all hit a bump. I yell bump, and they all jump, and the one yelled skip. I'm like, what's fucking skip? Skip? But you go bump, and they all jump.
That's awesome. It's like poor man's pride. That's great. That's great.
That was pretty hilarious. If you watch, sometimes they're a little off. Like, one person will do it before the other person, so it's kind of
freaking Star Trek. They all have to jerk to one side.
Yeah. I do remember there was one part in there. For some reason, we're all crammed in the van, and we're concentrating on Mitchell Mussolino in the back, and we're sitting there, and I'm holding a practical. The DP's down there with the camera. We're all sitting there lighting, and the next thing I know, Mitch is trying to get into it because it's supposed to be like a really serious scene where he's, getting into like why he loves the Halloween, and all that stuff. And I'm sitting there, I just happen to look over, and the DP looks over at me and just starts making faces. I'm like, oh my God. And then I'm looking outside, and then one guy's outside doing this thing with the boom mic, like he's lifting weights or something. And I'm trying not, and then I get that like that, and that's all it took. And then I just start cracking up. And I remember Mitch is like right in the middle of his speech. He's like, and he just stops. And when you look at him, we can't find the footage. We were going to put in the bloopers, but he literally looks like he's ready to come in and kill us, because he's like, I guess he thought we were laughing at him. So he's just sitting there, and you just hear us start busting out laughing, and he just gets real serious, and he looks in the back like, what's so fucking funny? Meanwhile, this guy there like lifting the boom pole and doing a bunch of stupid shit.
I was gonna say, I have to apologize. Pam couldn't stop talking, so I just decided to go grab her.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Right.
She won't shut up.
I was going to ask you, how is it working with Mitch and Lexi Drips?
Oh, they're great. Like, Mitch is a fun guy. Mitch is. I still talk to Mitch, hang out with Mitch. Not so much. He's got a girlfriend now, so of course he's he has, woman time now. But yeah, I love Mitch. He's great. He was in Force to Fear. He did a fantastic job in that. Lexi was great. Like I said, they're a real professional. They handled all their action well. They take direction. I love those guys. They're great. Like pretty much all the cast was really good. I was pretty happy with everyone in there, and I thought they were all really nice. There wasn't really anyone I'm like, well, I can't wait till this motherfucker gets out of here. Like everyone was really cool, very very supportive, and believed in the movie.
How was it like working with Linnea Quigley?
Linnea's cool. She's she's sweet. Like it's funny because like I'm like I was like Chris Farley. I was going to just start naming her movies like Jason. You were in Creepazoids. And, I was just coming up like, yeah, Savage Streets. You got raped, remember?
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Talking about horror movies because I guess I was trying to show off because someone could go up and say I'm a big fan. Like, yeah, okay, big fan. I said, well, I'll name every fucking movie you've been in because I have seen every movie you've been in. So I would just go ahead and start telling her movies like I loved you and like and if you start
Deadly Night, yeah.
For the obscure ones, then they believe it because if you just say I loved you, Night of the Demons, like no shit, so does everybody,
Yeah,
I did that at a convention one time. I saw Kane Hodder there, and I knew like everyone goes up, you're Jason. It's like, well, yeah, no shit. But I went up and I said he did a lot of stunts in like American Ninja 2. He did a lot of stunt work in Best. In fact, he had a little role in Best of the Best, and a couple. And I brought that up. He lit up like a Christmas tree, and like I went to walk, and he's like, come on back over and we'll talk. I'm like, well, and I loved hearing that stuff because I liked hearing. I've never heard someone talk about like real like the stunt side of things, and that's what he did. And I was like, because he was in like Steven Seagal movies, and he was like, yeah, Steven Seagal, that guy's a fucking asshole. He's like, he's trying to put guys' arms for real and shit. He was like a real dick. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, he's done a lot of stunt work. He was even in the House series doing stunts.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's right.
So, but Linnea was the same way. I just want to talk to her and just, I like hearing their stories about like, especially like movies you don't really hear about too much. It's like, oh, what about this one? And what about this one? She was in this real cheesy one I liked back in the days called Murder Weapon. It was like real corny. And I asked her about that one. And of course, I love Night of the Demons. Like that's probably one of my top 5 favorite horror films. That's one of my old go-to Halloween night. I always watch Night of the Demons. Like I've been watching that since I was a kid, and that's another one I love a lot. That one actually, if you listen to the commentary, and that's a good one to. They know like the killing in that movie doesn't really start until about 45 minutes. Like it's late in the movie. And he said that's why in the beginning they're all like goofy and shit and making funny wisecracks because he said we had to keep everyone invested in these characters. We just made them obnoxious, like just cutting on each other. And he said they tried to do really cool different camera angles and things like that to try and keep you interested until the horror started. And I always thought that was a really cool way of
the Demons is a cool flick, man. Like
he's fun. And it shows because I said I can watch it, even though it is essentially, I'll say, I guess it's slow. Nothing really happens until 45 minutes in or whatever, but I'm always engaged the whole time because I think it's really cool. The atmosphere is awesome and great flick.
Yeah,
no,
it's a good go-to Halloween flick.
Linnea's a sweetie pie.
Yeah.
She's a little dumb.
No, she's not.
Different, but she's no.
Anyway,
I like to say aloof.
Yeah,
I did a horror con with her, and she got lost in the lobby. So I was able to get a couple pictures with her, but it was really awesome. Sweet, so she's a sweetheart, man. She's a sweetheart.
She is. She's adorable. Like I love talking to her. She's fun.
I didn't realize she's like 3 feet tall.
Yeah, she's really tiny.
Yeah, she's small.
Yeah.
It looks like I'm holding her in my arm when
we took a picture.
Put my arm around her.
Yeah, she's very small. Yeah, I like talking to her, and she's nice. I said I love working with her. I think she's super nice. She was great. She was a trooper in the barn too. Like,
it was cool to see her pop up. When in that role as a teacher, it was pretty cool. I was like, oh, it's Linnea.
So in the first movie, when we did that scene, originally Justin had wanted Linnea originally, but he didn't know how to get her. And then he used a producer at the time who was a teacher in real life, and she stood in for that character. Oh. And then we finally got Linnea like a year later. We had to recreate that garage scene in a college. We go like this college like room, and we had to recreate the entire garage scene, like pretty much verbatim. That way it looked. And Mitch So when you see Mitch over the one side talking to Linnea, that was the original footage. When it cuts back to Linnea, she's not. We had Mitch there to go over his shoulder, but
Yeah.
all that is like her.
See, that's cool. It's 2 different rooms when they cut. That's
completely
awesome.
different. That's it. They're like almost a year apart too.
That's really cool.
neat.
And so the one part where, to us, she's like, she's like a star because she was in these movies, we grew up with.
Horror icon, man. Yeah.
Yes, we wanted to take care of her. So the one part where when she gets scared by the guy and she throws the plastic pumpkin in the air, it came down. It actually hit her in the head. It goes like, boom, and we're like, I'm like, oh my God, she just got hit. And she was like, and she went, she goes, you better use that one because that was a good one. I'm like, yeah, it was. She just got hit in the head. And if you watch her reaction, it's funny because it hits her. She's like, oh, she makes like this face. Like, you can't like fake it. Yeah, she threw it like directly straight up in the air, came right down and hit her on the top of the head. It's like, I didn't think you could have tried to do that.
I can just imagine the look on her face. She was probably having the best time with that.
I thought that was so cool when I saw her pop up in the movie. I was like, it's trash. It's great.
Yeah, she was fun. So fun.
The severed head scene in the movie was really great. Is there any like story behind that?
The severed head. I'm trying to remember which point.
The barn. First guy that gets killed ends up with a severed head.
Okay. Nick Joshua.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that again, I actually was not there that day. Those guys rigged that up themselves. I think Justin actually shot that himself. They rigged that up. So what they did was we shot, I think the first day we were filming, it was either the first day or the next day, because we did that in a week. It was like Saturday and Sunday. I don't know if it was the first day or the we shot the kind of wraparound part where Cortland walks in and he sees the guy grinding and he's like, what's going on? And he finds the bloody clothes and that. When he pulls the curtain aside, Justin then put like Nick Joshua's head up, classic, the head up through the table, put a bunch of stuff around, his head. It looks pretty good. I thought it looked real. I mean, I know exactly what they did, but it looks good. And then I think we even shot a separate day. We had to put the boards up. Like it was we were just out in the open. We had to put the boards up behind him. Like that was the wall behind him is when Justin turns around and starts eating the meat. It was like that was even a separate day on its own. So it was like Cortland coming in, stumbling out was a day. Just Nick Joshua's head was a day, and then the boogeyman turning around and eating the hamburger meat was like its own day. So it was like that was actually broken up into 3 different shots, like from different days.
Wow.
Well, considering like that took 3 days worth of filming there.
Setup.
How long did it take to film the barn? Literally,
it took us about a year and a half to 2 years. I think it was close to 2 years. Finish it? Yeah.
Okay. That's dedication, sir.
Yeah,
that's dedication.
We had to go back and because when the DP and Justin had their parting of their ways, or whatever, and then Justin was like real depressed because he wasn't happy because that DP guy would bring other guys in to help out, and those guys messed like the underexposed stuff and all that. And I always liked what he was doing because like the DP got me involved because he knew I liked 80s horror films. He goes, hey, you might want to help out because I think this is something it sounds like something in your wheelhouse. So I started, talking with Justin, and I thought he was a cool dude, and I liked the story and everything. And once it was done, I kept calling him saying, hey man, how's it going? And he's just like, I don't know, man. It's just, and I felt bad for him, and I just said, you know what, dude? I said, let's just start reshooting. And I originally had gotten paid to help out, but I came back then for nothing, and because I just wanted to, I wanted to make it, I knew he was in a tight spot, and I was like, let's fix it. Whatever you got, we're gonna do it. We're gonna like my lighting. I had a lighting guy that I brought in with us, and we just came in and we just said, let's fix it. I said, because I like the idea, and I think we got some cool stuff here, but there's we can make it a lot lot and I think in the long run it worked out. So.
See, that's great.
Yeah,
man.
like I said, that's dedication, devotion.
Yeah, really believed in the project.
Because I'll be honest with you, most people at that point probably would have
throw the towel in.
Yeah, they would have been done.
He said he was about ready to blow his brains pretty much. He said he was done. He was like he had lost a bunch of weight because he used to be a little bit heavier than what he is now. Like he had lost a lot of weight because he was so stressed out and all that. And it was like, oh man, like holy cow.
Yeah, and this was like a childhood story, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he wrote like the books like when he was like a kid. He wrote like these little picture books and stuff, and he had all the monsters designed, and he kind of had the basic gist of some of the story, but he changed it. But because I don't think he had the boobies, and the kids, which would have been hilarious if he did. Like a little stick figure woman with boobies. There it is. It's what a woman looks like in my little young mind.
Oh gosh. Well, I can see now why he was so depressed. I mean, you've taken
Well,
something
yeah,
from his
it's
child
something.
that he created as a child, and
Yeah,
you know, he was starting to finally see it come together, and then
It just-
slowly start to collapse.
Yeah, it felt
Yeah,
good.
that's
that
I felt bad for him, and I was like, and I said I liked it. I thought it was cool. Like I said, I mean, I even told him, I
The
said,
movie's a lot of fun, man. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
it was fun. And I was like, he had like, I told him, I go, you have every like, because I always wanted to film in a skating rink. I always wanted to film in like a school. I always wanted to film in like a graveyard. I always wanted to film like always in a barn. And I go, dude, you have like every place I've ever wanted to film in one movie. I'm like, it's
pretty awesome. Yeah, it is though. It's a lot of fun. The movie's a lot of fun. So,
okay, where we want to go?
go ahead, man.
You got another one?
All right. Yeah, plenty more. Watching the film, it looks like really old, like VHS style. Like, whose idea was it to do it that way?
that was Justin's. He wanted to. So first off, when we shot it, we didn't want to do like anything crazy camera work. Like we wanted to keep it like, none of that where you see in movies now they have like sort of like I think they'd be getting away from it, but for a while there was like real popular to do like in a 20 Days Later, a Gladiator, the high speed shutter look where it's like there's that trailing and that.
Yeah,
a lot of SDR or DSLRs and that do that.
Looks like there's frames missing. It just
Exactly. It has a look to it, like it's almost like a video stutter or whatever.
Yeah,
So we tried to make sure that we didn't have that in the movie because we wanted to make it look like an old. The concept he wanted to do is to make this look like it was an old movie that was lost in the 80s and was only just found. So we made sure we didn't go crazy with like we did use a drone. That was the one thing we did. We did use a one drone shot, but we wanted to try and keep it pretty much like old shooting style. And then he went in on his own and he did all the grain and that all himself in post.
That's so cool. It's so cool.
Yeah, it came out looking great.
Yeah, when I saw it, he has like a little mini theater in his house, and he brought me in one time. He's like, "Here, I'm going to show you," because I hadn't seen the whole with him throwing mute. Like I knew he was working on that, and I brought me and my daughter. My youngest daughter went over. And we sat in there, and he said, "Just watch and tell me." And I was blown away when I watched the movie. I was like, "God damn, this looks like a real friggin' movie, man!" Like it literally blew my mind, like to see it all come together with all the sound effects. And I was like, "This looks really good, dude." Like seriously, because like I'm not lying to you. I was like, "This looks really good."
No, be proud, man. The movie's a lot of fun. It's awesome. So it's really neat to see those little it's like VHS effects.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
That was his idea to put like if you on the cover of the movie too, like the little stickers, like Be Kind Rewind.
Yeah.
The number sticker in the video store. He had it like 666, like it's in the rental space. And all that was all his idea, putting all that stuff.
Yeah.
I think there's even like I think there's like masking tape on it too, like looks like masking tape marks and stuff. And
that's really cool.
It's a bunch of distress marks. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty neat. So
it looks like something you would have picked up at like the like Blockbuster or somewhere, like way back in the day.
Yep.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah.
Was the location of the barn like a real set, or is that something y'all like built?
So this was crazy too. So the barn interior, when the kids first walk inside, that was a set that was built. And what's funny is once that was done, when we pulled all the walls away and cleared it out, that's actually the inside of the schoolhouse.
Oh wow!
Like they're having
okay.
That's the same thing. It's just the outer walls was like the blackboard and that on it, and then he just brought in wooden beams, put them together, and made like the interior barn was just a little bit closer in. So it was like barn, strip that away, schoolhouse. Then the exterior was this old dilapidated barn that was like right over the hill from where we were filming. And that thing is not ready to fall apart. Like there was holes going up along the one side to keep it from the wall from falling down.
Oh man.
And then the farm or the outside when they go to the schoolhouse was this old dilapidated schoolhouse that when we went there, you went inside. There was like bats like all over the inside. There was bat shit all over the floor. Like,
Damn.
so we're like, we're just filming outside, and we'll film the. Well, that's what he wanted. He just wanted us to film outside because he just wanted us to wait till it got dark, light it, film them running up to the door. I think when they run up to the door and they pull it open, that is at the old gross one. Then when they come inside, it's the set.
Yeah, that's cool. I like when they do stuff like that. It's neat.
Very
The
cool.
magic of editing, you know.
Yeah.
How was it working with a guy named Seaman?
Oh,
We knew
That's
he
a
was
lot.
gonna
I
go there.
knew
We
he was
knew
gonna
it,
go
we
for
knew
it. I knew he was gonna go for it.
Lots of jokes. That's for sure. Everyone points out to you if Justin would have married Lexi, her name would be Lexi Drips Seaman.
Oh, 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 God. Oh,
Oh, it sounds like a porn star. Now.
God.
Terrible.
What's funny
Oh,
is a lot of people at because if you watch the trailer, that it is like Nikki Darling, Cortland Woodard, Will Stout, like they're all like Lexi. It all sounds like a goddamn porn movie.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah,
you,
when I saw her
then you
name, I
Mitchell
definitely thought it
Mussolini. It's like yeah, so it's
Oh, my gosh. I knew he
people
was gonna
ask
go
if
there.
that is her real name. Like
Yeah,
that's her
yeah.
real name. It's like yeah. Why would she pick that name? Like,
Ah.
why would she just intentionally pick that unless she was going into porn? You know?
Yeah, I thought that's where y'all might have found her at first, but I couldn't find anything. So.
Yeah.
I remember we talked about that. That was too funny.
Oh,
He's like, she
gosh.
might have done porn. I don't know. That was funny, man.
Yeah,
He's like,
no,
"This is her name."
she's like the complete opposite end of that spectrum, which is hilarious.
That's
Yeah,
too
she's
funny.
really cool.
Yeah, she's nice. She's super, super nice.
I was gonna ask one more question. How was it shooting the sex scene in the tent?
That was funny too because actually, here's a fun. Like, I actually wasn't. I had to work the next day, so I bailed right before the boobies came out. I got to the underwear part and the bra and that, and then I had to leave. My wife still doesn't believe me, but I told her I left, and she's like, "No, you didn't." I go, "I did. I had to leave." So, but before that, so we had to get like Cortland getting, laid down on the ground. She gets on top of him. She starts taking her shirt off and her bra. So obviously, like, we can't all cram into the tent. So we cut these holes into the tent, which makes you feel even more pervert. You're sliding the camera through these holes in the tent like you're some like pervert.
Like perverts, right? Yeah.
That's exactly what it looks like. It looks like the worst pervert like thing ever. Just like these different cameras like poking.
Relax, I'm a professional, baby.
Down. I know how to perv, all right? Don't tell me my business.
That's awesome.
So, and then I remember so we got a body double to play the actual breasts.
Mhm.
And bazungas, pick your name. Pick your name. So I remember when I was watching, it's really gratuitous when we're watching the movie because usually when body double work looks bad enough as it is, especially if it's like, to do a body double, I think correctly would be like you get someone that looks sort of like the person. You can get their whole head and everything in. This was just like no head, just boobs. I guess this is the most gratuitous.
It's boobs. It's
Literally,
bams.
it was the barring like sound effect, and that's all it needed to me. I said this looks almost like a comedy, like one of those sex comedies, like Porky's or something. And then I remember, and if you watch the movie, watch it. And I remember I'm sitting there, I'm going, man, this is because it goes, it's like close up, boobs come out, then it cuts to like Cortland's face, like then it cuts back, and it's a side shot of
Side
the
boobs.
Like, okay, we got the side shot. Then it cuts back to one boob moving to the next boob, and I go, that's pretty gratuitous. I'm like, I think we're getting a little gratuitous here with these boob shots. It's like, I guess if you paid for them, I guess you might as well.
We got him.
It's like what we paid for. We might as well get everything out of them.
Great. That's great.
Oh God.
It's super gratuitous. It's so weird because I said the rest of the movie, other than the gore, like feels to me like kind of like a Goosebumps type thing, and then it's just like boobs, and then a kid gets a pickaxe in the head.
All right.
What kind of movie is this?
I
I love
God.
it. It's a lot of fun.
All right.
Lots
This
of
movie's great.
blood, sweat, and semen in this movie.
Since Chris got his final question there, I'm not sure how you're going to follow that up there, Slinky. But do you have a final question for this one?
What's next? What's in the
Well,
pipe?
set we're working on the Barn 2. We're finishing that up. Which Chris was there. He saw we were working on the drive-in set. Which
talk about the day you were on set, like
That was a lot of fun and very cold.
Yeah, that was a cold day, but it looked. I know. I go back. I think it looked great, but I always kind of go back and I kind of like poke fun at some of the stuff because Justin uses a lot of fog in the movie. In the first movie, usually the reason you do it is instead of just shooting, because we've talked about this before, we don't like shooting where it's like a person just with a black background because it looks kind of amateurish, I think, unless you can light the background and usually fog fills that in, and fog also carries light, and it looks like it just looks better. So inside, we were doing the fog outside, inside the drive-in, like in the concession area, he's fogging it up and these zombies coming over and it's all neon. I'm like, what is this, a White Snake video? Like, what?
That's awesome.
Like, we need like shirtless guys like rubbing shoulder blades playing guitar. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, you need sparks, lots of sparks.
Exactly. It's like, we need sparks and like some girl dancing on a car. I don't know. It's like,
First time you could think.
yeah, it's like, so it was kind of funny, but yeah, I mean, I thought it looked good. It came out looking really good. All the extras were fun. They had a good time. We had like almost like a conga line for people getting into zombie makeup. It was just like dent, 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 zombie, dent, 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 zombie. And they just come out.
Yeah, so everybody watching out there, when you watch the Barn 2, keep an eye out for KC.
Keep an eye out for Chris. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'll be the one in the lime green.
And then
glow stick. He's dressed up like a glow stick. It's awesome.
we had so the movie they're watching at the drive-in is a movie that Scream Team also put out called The Sleeper, which is like this slasher movie. And I think you remember me talking about Dan Kiley, who's in Bong of the Living Dead. His wife is in The Sleeper, Tiffany Kiley. And there's a scene where she doesn't do nudity, but there's a scene where she goes into a shower scene and she gets killed in the shower, but she's in a towel and stuff like that. And when that was on, so I'm like taking video and I'm sending it to Dan. I'm like, hey, Dan, watching your woman take clothes off. And he's like laughing back. He's like, I said, yeah, I'm going to send you some stuff. So it was a fun night. We had a good time. Like, everyone seemed to be in good spirits. And I said that drive-in looked cool. I was like, I think it'll be that one scene. Look, there's a part where we did a part where all the zombies are coming after them and they kind of run through the concession line. And there's just like that barrier that, makes the line. You have to go and follow like
the
a
railing.
maze.
Yeah.
Exact railing. Yeah. And Tiffany or Lexi and Mitch run through that, and the zombies start coming at them, and they're like batting at them as they're going, and I'm with the camera running with them, and it looks really cool. Like,
I can't wait to see how it comes out. I got whacked in the head in one part.
Yeah, they're all getting clubbed,
like,
because Lexi's got like a bat with like nails in it now. They're just like club. I think Mitch has got a crowbar, and there's like clubbing zombies as they're running down. And this one, Lexi gets a little more like action, because in the first one she was sort of like the classic damsel in distress kind of thing, and Justin actually got shit for it. Actually, we were actually at a viewing one time, and this person actually called him out on it. Like, we're like, what? She's like, I couldn't have noticed that you had the girl like tied up and had to be saved by the guys, and I'm like, sorry.
It's a horror movie.
It's a horror movie.
Sorry. So I think I think people were fans of Lexi in the first one. He wanted to give her more to do in the second one, so he upped her with the action quotient in the second one. She does some cool stuff, so she's got a cool weapon. There's a nice scene where they have a fight. It's like, almost like sort of like a Western. Like, they almost have a showdown with zombies in like this downtown area with like a hardware store, and it looks really cool with Ari, Linnea, Mitch, and Lexi. That's pretty cool. There's a bunch of zombies running around and good stuff.
Oh, I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that one.
Yeah,
for the Barn, I was going to ask you, where can people find this?
You can get the Barn. Actually, it's actually on Tubi. You can watch it on there. I think it's on Amazon Prime, and or you can order it from Scream Team Releasing. And there's a lot of other really good independent films we have on Scream Team Releasing you can check out. So there's a lot of filmmakers we, think they do great work, and we respect them in that. So they trust Justin. He puts out there, and all the the money for each individual it goes directly back to the filmmaker then too when you purchase those movies.
Fantastic.
See,
That's
that's
great.
great. Yeah, that's great.
Now, I do have a final question for you
Yeah,
as well, sir.
absolutely.
As an independent filmmaker, what one piece of advice would you give to anyone who is considering entering this profession?
Mm.
Oh man, I could write a book.
Yeah.
I'm sure. But what do you think is the single most important thing for them to
Yeah,
know?
like something key.
See, I'd like to pick one, but there's like different things. I'd say an important thing is that one would be just go out and do it. Don't listen to people. They say your idea is stupid or whatever. Just do it, because if you sit around and you don't do it, then when you're old and gray and you're all pissed off, like you're gonna regret that you didn't do it. So just go out and learn, like, because you're not gonna learn even if you're not good at it right away. Just learn. Watch some movies. I said watch commentaries. Maybe if you can go on some sets, like just go on, like even if you don't get paid, just go on there as a production assistant or do whatever and pay attention to what they do. Pay attention, because the one thing I'll tell you that annoys us when we're watching some indie films, and that is just pay attention to the way lighting, like, because you could tell, like, your movie should look. I'm not going to say it should look like a Hollywood movie, because obviously they have a lot more, but like lighting's super important, sound super important. Like pay attention.
Yeah,
Pay
certain
attention.
aesthetics. Yeah.
Pay
yeah.
attention to those aesthetics, because when people, nothing's worse than when you go in and you listen to like cruddy audio, you can barely understand someone, or there's some kind of hum or noise and you can't hear them, or if I'm straining my eyes to try and see what's happening in the action, or try like nice compositions, and that are nice too. Like make it visually nice for people to look at. You want people to look at, oh, that looks pretty. Like, I'm not saying use colored lights, but colored lights help sometimes, or just like, make it look nice. Yeah, because going into a basement using like clamp lamps and that stuff looks terrible. There's even a way to light that to make that look nice. Just some people just go in and just like, just go in and go, all right, we're lit. And it's just like this flat lighting. And it's just like, just pick up some books or something and look on like theories of like lighting, and then just learn some basic techniques. As I said, in the end, it makes your product look a lot better than like some other people might be doing. Kind of make you stand out a little bit.
Yeah, $5 a colored film or plastic go a long way.
Well, but add depth and everything.
Exactly. Right. So, and then I said, just do it. Just go out and do it, because I said, if you don't, you're never gonna know. You'll be going, man, what happened if I did make a movie? You're trying to make a movie. Look, Justin tried, and he made it pretty good. And just go out and do it. That's all I can really say and don't let anyone like talk you down, like say that's stupid. Well, fuck you. It's my idea. So
exactly. So. No, that's fantastic, man.
Because remember that someone said in a board meeting and said, let's make a movie where tornadoes throw sharks at people. And they
sir.
Greenlit it.
We could not say it better
ourselves. I say that all the time. I said there was a meeting that happened and somebody got paid for this.
Yes.
So,
or that guy made the movie about the killer tire. I mean, it's...
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Troll 2.
That one too. Yeah. But look how that actually came around and became something
now people embrace it. Yeah.
And then it became the documentary, which was fantastic. I mean, something snowballed from that, or The Room. Look how
Tommy.
The Room is now. Like, just because so don't listen to people, because you never know what's gonna work. And even if you do make some, I don't know, like something that may not be the most stellar, somebody's going to find value in it and enjoy it. That might be someone's like movie they love. Like, I love this movie. Like,
I like Spookies, man. I love that movie.
I do too. And people,
it's a train wreck,
Yeah, when you talk to some of the creators of it, they fucking hated it, because they're like, it wasn't the movie we started out doing. It was like two movies crammed together, and I'm like, well, I don't know what you guys did, but I fucking love it. Like, I love it.
About that movie, man. Seriously, like I told Chris about it back in the day. Do
you know how long it took us to watch Spookies the first time?
4 hours, but that's fine.
Yeah, no, it was 4 hours because you added your own commentary. Thank you.
The Grim Reaper, man, that's so good.
He pauses the movie and then gives me the
so you don't miss anything,
and then starts it again and then pauses the movie and gives me back to it.
There's one I have. In fact, it's funny because Rocky, the guy that did the music for the barn, I told him there's one I love. It's a crap movie, but I love it. It's called Dead Dudes in the House.
Yes.
I love that movie. And Rocky laughs. He goes, dude, I could totally see like your lighting style in that movie. He goes, I can tell you love that. He laughs about it. He goes, I can tell you love. I said, yes, this ridiculous guy in this old woman makeup, and he's going around murdering people. I said, it's so good. Like, I love it.
You're like the third person I've ever heard bring that up or
I
mention
love that movie. I got the Blu-ray from Vinegar Syndrome.
Yes.
Yeah, I
No,
love it.
that's
so
another
good.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
gosh.
another one. It's good.
Well, Zane, we can't thank you enough
Yes,
for coming
man.
and hanging
Sure,
out.
no problem.
Yes, thank you so
I'm
much.
happy the sound worked out better this time. Like I was
Absolutely.
furious
Yeah.
for like 3 days last time. I
Oh.
was so upset.
No, this is
So-
wonderful. No, and congrats on all the success so far, and we
thanks.
cannot wait for the next to come
Yeah,
out.
man. We always look forward to what you're doing. Always look
I
forward.
appreciate it. We always appreciate the support. Trust me, the actors do. They love that everyone, loves what they do. It makes them really happy. So we like going to shows and meeting people because I love just talking to people about it. And if they like what we do, it makes me happy. It makes me want to continue.
Yeah, keep doing it, man, because it's terrific what you're doing. Actually, in July we might be at that con with you.
Yeah, we'll
So
see you
what
at
we-
Gross Fest.
Yeah,
Which
see you
one?
at Growth Fest.
Oh
And,
yeah, Gross Fest. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, if you guys are
Yeah.
there, that'd be fantastic. That's a
Yeah.
great. It's a great fest. Tim and Tom, who run it, are great guys. Like Tim is such a supporter of independent film. He is such a badass dude, and he's a huge Spookies fan as well.
Yes, we're gonna be talking about spookies all day. It's gonna be great.
Oh yeah, Tom. Yeah, Tim and Tom are both great guys. Because that festival or con originally was one. It was called Horror Realm, and then it was doing well, and then the people that were doing it decided to stop doing it. Tim was a regular there. He goes to that one, and he's a regular at there's one in Ohio. I think it's called Cinema Wasteland.
Yes,
Tim's-
I've heard that,
yes.
yes.
Tim's there all the time too. And once Horror Realm's like right in our backyard, so once that was gone, they were joking around, saying, "Hey Tim, you should do your own called Gross Fest," and it just sprung. And he made an attempt. He did it, and now it's starting to snowball, and it's getting better and better. Like they have some great guests coming up. They got Billy Pond, who did Circus of the Dead, which he'll be there. Drew Marvick, who did
Junior's gonna be there. Yeah.
yeah.
With Papa Corn. Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Yep, and Drew Marvick, who did Pool Party Massacre, which is another fun one. He'll be there. So they got a lot of good people coming. And
Oh man, yeah, really looking forward to it.
yeah,
So.
we'll be set up there. I'm actually excited. I always like doing that show. It's a great show. And then if anyone ever gets a chance, I'm going to plug also Genre Blast. If you like independent films and that, it happens. I believe it's the end of August, beginning of September. I think is that Labor Day? Is that when Labor
Should
Day
be
is?
right on the top.
It's on my birthday.
I think it's usually Labor Day weekend or right before is Genre Blast in Virginia. It's in Winchester.
Hey, there you go.
It's at the Alamo Draft House. They do it's an independent
Oh.
festival. They just show indie films all the time there. And
Yeah.
I've been going
I'll
to
have to
last.
check that out.
Yeah,
they
it's great, dude. They usually have a lot of up and coming filmmakers there, and they usually sit down in the lobby area, and you can drink out there. You can talk with the filmmakers, the actors. It's so great. And the people that run that's Nathan Ludwig and his buddy Chad run it, and they're it's a great show. His sister Reagan, they all run it, and they do a bang up job on that show. It's fantastic.
They should open one here in Tampa because
Yeah,
when it
they
comes
should.
to drinking, Floridians, huh?
Well,
Yeah,
it's
they-
not.
Dude,
They show really good flicks there. It's awesome.
Yeah, they do. I don't know.
Cult
Draft House.
classic.
We need more of those around.
Yeah, because they show like the Evil Dead.
Yeah.
It's awesome. They've
They've been doing. I think they've been the ones doing that thing where they do a road show where they'll take like an inflatable screen and they show Jaws at like a lake
Yeah,
where you
yeah.